Hey there, Bethesda kids, and welcome to another lesson here during these stay-at-home orders and times. We hope that you are all well, and we hope that you are all staying safe and still having a good time as much as you can at this point. We are back with another Bible story, and just to catch you up on where we've been so far, we talked about God creating everything in our first video. Then we talked about Adam and Eve and the fall of the garden, and we talked about Cain and Abel and how anger really can get in our way and make us be disobedient to God. Today our story is going to turn to another pretty famous guy in the Bible, a guy that built a giant ark, and his name is Noah. So let's turn to that story now. Now this story comes from Genesis chapter 6 and 7. So it's the first book of the Bible, and chapters 6 and 7. And with Noah, things had gotten pretty bad in the world. People were being really nasty to one another. They were not taking care of each other. They were being really mean to people. And it really got out of hand to the point that God said, you know what, I've had enough. This has gotten out of control. We can't let people take advantage of others. We can't let people hurt one another. So we need to start over. All right, we need to do this again. And, you know, I'm going to send this horrible flood to wipe out all people, and we're just going to start over. And the way that he planned on starting over is there was one man named Noah. All right, and Noah was a righteous man. And what that means is that he had a really close relationship with God. He lived in a way that God wanted him to live. He talked with God through prayer, and he lived a life that God wanted to see in people. So he was really the model that God wanted when it came to the world and how it should look. Noah wasn't perfect, but he did have a relationship with God, which is ultimately our goal in life. So God chooses Noah and tells Noah, Noah, I want you to build an ark. And he gives him these measurements that are like huge. Like I want it to be massive. You know, I want it to be this long, and I want it to be this wide, and I want it to be this tall, because it's not just going to be you on this ark. It's going to be you and a bunch of animals. So while we're resetting the world, it's not going to be a complete reset because we've got to start from something. So he says, Noah, you and your family will be on this boat. You, your sons, their wives, your wife, in order to keep the human race going after it. It's all done. And you're going to take all these animals in order to make sure that that the animals survive. So just imagine that this has to be a huge boat to fit all of these animals. So Noah decides to be obedient to God, and he starts building an ark. He starts collecting the wood and the supplies and the nails and all that stuff, and he starts putting this boat together. And keep in mind that at this point it hadn't rained before, so this was a new thing. They knew what water was, but at the same time they didn't know that it would fall from the sky, because this would have been the first time that it happened. So Noah kept working on the boat, and once he was done with the ark, he ended up going out and finding all of the animals that he was supposed to do. He needed two, one male, one female, so that they could have babies and continue on the population and life after the fact. And once he had finally collected all of the animals, he went up onto the ark, and once everybody was in, God closed the door of the ark, and then it began to rain. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Now could you imagine if you were at home and it rained for over a month? Just straight rain. And as it rained, the waters, they just rose. And up with the water came the ark. Because an ark is a little different from a boat, because an ark doesn't have any way to steer. It's really just a giant wooden structure that floats there, versus a boat that has, you know, a steering wheel and rudders and sails and things like that that let it move. So they were just floating. And so as the waters rose, the ark came up as well. It got so high that it covered the mountains. That's really high. That's super high. And so after 40 days and 40 nights, the rain finally stopped. But then it was another like 140 days that Noah and his family were on this ark. And one day, after waiting a really long time, Noah decided to take a raven and send it out in order to help him find land. Because obviously if a raven went out, found land, then it would nest there and it would live there. Well, the raven went out, it flew back and forth, and it found no land. And so it came back to Noah. 1 week later, Noah sent out a dove. And the same thing happened. It flew all over the place, and it found no place to land, so it returned to the ark. And then another week later, he sent a dove out again, but this time it came back with an olive branch. This was a sign of hope that the trees were uncovered at least, but it still wasn't at a place where Noah and his family could live. 1 week later passes, and Noah sends the dove out again. And this time, the dove doesn't come back. So that was the sign for Noah that the water had finally disappeared, that it had finally gone back to the oceans and streams and had made it okay to step out of the ark. And so when God gave him the go-ahead, Noah and his family and the animals left the ark. And as soon as they left the ark, Noah set up an altar and he offered a sacrifice to God as a way of saying thank you for protecting him, and as a way of saying that he's thankful for the mercy and grace that God showed him to choose him and his family to be safe in this. And God breathed in the aroma of that offering, which was pleasing to him. And then once that was all said and done, God set a promise, or what we call a covenant, with Noah. And he said that no matter how bad things get in the future, he will never again destroy the earth with water. And he'll never destroy mankind in that way. And in order to seal this covenant, he did something that was really kind of out of the ordinary for what they believed at that time. And he set a rainbow in the sky. Now, if you've ever seen rain, sometimes if it's raining while the sun's out, you'll see a rainbow show up. And that's a reminder to us of this promise that God set for not just Noah and his family, but for everybody, for you, for me, that he would never again destroy the world with water. And so Noah and his family and all the animals repopulated the world. And that is the story of Noah for this week. So what can we learn from Noah? Noah was obedient to God. His relationship with God was important. And when God asked him to do something like build an ark, which he didn't know what that was going to be, he did it. He didn't argue with him. He didn't fight back with him. You know, I know sometimes if our parents ask us to do something, it's easy to say, I don't want to do that, and we argue with them, and we can't come up with excuses why we don't want to do that. But Noah was obedient all the way through. We also understand that God was in control of this whole thing. In the middle of that terrible situation with the waters everywhere and flooding the earth, that ark was Noah's salvation. That was Noah's safety. Just like we talked about a few weeks ago that Jesus is our salvation, that ark was salvation for Noah. It protected him and his family. It kept him safe from the waters. And we also understand that God stays true to his promise. There has never been a worldwide flood like Noah saw. Not since those days. Now, yes, we get flooding here and there, and that happens, but it has never gone to the extent of destroying all human life. So God sticks to his promises. When he makes promises with people, he stays to them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that story, and I hope you all continue to stay safe, and we really hope that we'll get to see you soon. Until then, know that we love you and we miss you, and we'll catch you next week with our next video. So take care, and remember, stay tuned after this for the craft for the week. Be blessed, guys. Bye. So for this week's craft, it's fairly simple. All you're going to need is a couple sheets of construction paper. You can pick any color you want really with this, but if you can get a blue piece, that's going to be important. Otherwise, the other one can be any kind of light colored one, so that when we do some of our drawing later, you'll be able to see that. So the first thing that you want to, so you need construction paper, a couple pieces. You'll need some scissors, so get your mom, dad, grandma, whoever to help you out with that for cutting. You'll need some glue, whether a glue stick or a bottle of glue. Glue stick is probably better so it doesn't soak through the paper. And then you're gonna need some crayons. You'll need a brown one, definitely, but you could also use other colors because there'll be more that you can draw later on if you would like. So that's gonna be about it for this craft. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you wanna do is you want to take your blue piece of construction paper and you want it to be, I don't know, probably about halfway, maybe a little less on the other construction paper. So you can kind of measure that out. And then about halfway through the blue, you want to just cut a wavy line just so that it looks kind of like water. And then you're going to take that piece of construction paper, put some glue on it with your glue stick, get it covered pretty well there, and then flip it over and stick it to your other piece of construction paper. Just like so. And I'm sure you guys will do a much better job than I do, but that's how it's gonna be. So now it looks like we've got a background with some water on it. Now, the next thing that you wanna do is take your crayon and you just wanna draw a boat or an ark. Now, an ark, as we said in our story, isn't like a boat that can be steered or anything like that, so it doesn't have sails or anything like that. So you can just draw like a bowl. So just draw a flat top there, and then just curve it down, just like that. And then because it was made out of gopher wood, or wood, you can make it look like, kind of like a log cabin. If you know what a log cabin is, just draw some straight lines across, if you'd like. And then because it's different pieces of wood, just kind of put some lines there. And that's going to be the bottom of your ark. Then, up at the top, you want to draw just a box, because this is where Noah and his family and all the animals entered the ark. And you can put a door on here as well, so just a smaller box. And then give it a roof. So you can just draw a triangle on top. Just like that. And that's gonna be our ark. And then you can color it in if you'd like. Just make it look all brown. Just like so. Color it all in. Maybe make the door a bit darker. And then if you want, because the water was so high, like in our story, that it covered the mountaintops, you can definitely use a gray crayon and just draw in some mountaintops here if you would like. You don't have to, but you can do that. And then, if you would like to add more to it, what you can do is get other crayons, and as best that you can, you can draw or color in like a rainbow to remind us of the promise that God gave Noah and his family, that he would never flood the earth again. And there we go. So that is our ark. That's what it looks like. And as I said, I would love to see what yours look like, so make sure that you get someone to take a picture of it and post it on the Facebook group, which you'll see below. So that's your crap for the week, and I hope I see some great things from you guys. So take care, and we will see you next week.